Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. And thank you for coming and visiting my channel. If you haven't already checked out my other videos, go to my channel, check them out. Okay, so first reading update. I am almost done with Dating After the World Ends, I think it was called, by Genevieve Rose. I am 93% of the way through, so I've got excuse me, I've got I think 2 chapters and an epilogue left on audio on Kindle, so I'm almost done with that. And that was part of one of my challenges. So once I'm done listening to that, then I'm going to listen to Venom in the Blood on audio, and that's part of my jellyfish challenge. And then, oh yes, so okay, yeah, I think that's all of my reading updates. I did, well, Night of Lions by Bianca Dark came out, so I finished that yesterday. Good, happy with it, and I just saw that the last one in the series that I'm reading with this, it's kind of complicated, so if you want to know more, I talked about it some in my last video, but basically Tales of the Weir Kincaid Shifters is a small series, a part of a bigger world of series that Bianca Dark has created. And Night of Lions just came out on January 1st, and the last book in this series, a part of the bigger series, comes out in March, called The Reluctant King. So, and honestly, I'm really excited for this character because I've wanted to know like his story and everything for like a while, because he's mentioned in some of the earlier smaller series that are a part of the bigger series. So I've been wanting to know his story for a while, and finally we are getting it in this book in March, so I'm excited for it. But yeah, I think, yeah, I also read Death's Obsession on Kindle by Aviana Graves, I think. It was a book rec that I saw in another creator's video, and I was like, oh, well, this sounds interesting. And so then I looked it up and I was like, oh, that does sound kind of interesting. And it was okay, but I think I expected too much because it is like a short, like novella style book. Like it's not like super long. It's got like 13 chapters and then boom, that's it. So I think it was like just under 200 pages. It was okay. It wasn't as great as I thought it was going to be, and I was kind of confused at first, so I don't know, but oh well. And then, oh, I have read more in The Only One Left by Riley Sager. Let me get my copy. Okay, so the last time we talked, I had only read through chapter 3, and I was going to be starting chapter 4, but I was finishing a few of my other books, so I hadn't read more in it yet. But as of now, I am on chapter 7. So I've read up to chapter 7, and that is page 78, and it's getting interesting. I marked a few of the pages that I wanted to, and I need to buy some more little sticky things, but I marked a few things that I want to keep track of so far. And I don't know, it's getting good. It's talked about she's met Lenora Hope now, and she's just started typing on the typewriter, talking to her, and I think this was one of the things I highlighted. But also the other thing is that I don't know, it's just I don't know how to, I don't want to give away too much. But one of these things, hold on, where is it? I want you guys to know. So she starts typing on the typewriter, right? And she gets kind of scared for a second. And because she's like, my body is dead, but my mind is alive. And I was like, ooh, yeah, she's sharp. She may not be able to do anything, but she's sharp. And then it kind of like freaks Kit out, and Lenora types out, don't be scared, I can't hurt you. And you know, when I first read it, I was like, well, yeah, she can't hurt her. She can like barely move her body. She can like really only work one arm and her head, so duh, she can't hurt you. But then in her inner musings, she's like, if the goal was to put me at ease, then Lenora has failed miserably. I won't hurt you. Now that should have calmed my nerves, but Lenora ended up typing the opposite. The insidious astrophy less can't suggests a lack of capability, not willingness, and that Lenora would hurt me if she could. So I was like, ooh, and then that's the ending of chapter 6. So sorry if you didn't want to know any of that. A little bit of a spoiler. I guess you should have skipped that. But yeah, it's pretty good. So it's getting better. Like, you know, I'd only read 3 chapters and I was interested, and we were just getting ready to meet Lenora, and so now we've met Lenora and she started interacting with her some, and so I'm really excited to read more. Honestly, I'll probably be able to finish listening to my audiobook on Kindle on the way to work tonight, and then I can go on ahead and buy the audiobook Venom in the Blood. I probably won't start that though until tomorrow night, but I'm definitely going to be taking this to work with me and reading more of it. So today is Thursday, so Saturday I'll try to update you guys on how far I'm getting in the reading. But besides that, I think that's all the updates I have. The only one left, Death's Obsession, Night of Lions. Yeah. And I'm currently reading, I'm rereading a short story right now by Bianca Dark, because I just enjoy rereading some of the Shifter stories. And then I was finishing reading book 3 in the Bro Code series. I can't remember who it's by, DJ Jameson, I think. So I'm finishing reading book 3. Book 4 doesn't come out until the end of the month, so I can't read that yet. But yeah, I'm reading that on Kindle. So besides that, that's all I've been reading so far. I did, and this is part of my book updates, I did finally get Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies in. I got it in on Monday, so I know I should have started, and I wanted to yesterday because I was off last night, but honestly, I finished reading my Bianca Dark book that came out, and then I was so tired from work, I just said, I went to bed like early, like after I finished dinner. It was like 7 o'clock, and I was like, so I'm sorry you guys, but I am planning on starting it, not tonight, because I really do want to read more in The Only One Left, but sometime this weekend I will be starting Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and I'm excited. I hope I like it. You know, I've seen a lot of people talk about it and that they've read the series and that they really liked it, so I'm hoping I will too, because if I do, then I will be buying the rest of the books. So yeah, I got this one and then 3 others in a box set from Barnes & Noble that came in on Monday and Tuesday. So I got this Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. It's, you know, it's got like the, I don't know, it's just kind of a fun, it's just kind of a fun edition. Like, it's got like pages that look like old and stuff. I don't know, but I'm excited to read. Okay, I'm not gonna look. Okay, so I got that, and then I got The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgins Burnett came in. This is also a Barnes & Noble exclusive. And it's an illustrated edition. Hold on. I don't remember. Illustrated by Charles Robinson. So it's got a few pictures like that throughout the book. And I went on ahead and bought this because this is going to be my book for my Jellyfish Challenge in February. So I wanted to go on ahead and get it, so I had it. And I have never read The Secret Garden. So I'm excited to read it. You know, it's a classic, so I'm excited to just read it and to disappear into the secret garden. Okay, and then, okay, let me show you guys the box set. It came in Tuesday, and I have heard so many good things about this series, and so I am very excited to read it. How about I'll show you guys. The Kingdom of the Wicked series. And I did, yes, get the box set all in paperback. So I got Kingdom of the Wicked, Kingdom of the Cursed, and Kingdom of the Feared. And I've just heard so many good things about it. And I know that, I don't know if it's technically considered a spin-off series, because I know these 3 are about one couple, and then there's other books coming out that are about all the other like side characters you meet in these books. So, and I heard about that series and then realized that there was a first, you know, these that came first, and so then I was like, well, I really want to read that, but like, if I'm gonna read that, I need to read these. And I've heard, but anyway, I've heard such good things about these books, so I'm excited that they finally came in. And, you know, I'll be picking these books up soon to read, so I'm excited. Okay, so let's see. And then the other 2 books I got, okay, these other 2, one of them is like, has been really popular lately, and you know, I read the summary of it and I was like, this just sounds so interesting. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna kind of jump on the bandwagon here and I'm gonna buy it. But honestly, I don't know when I'll be reading it. But I mean, obviously I would like to read it this year sometime, but I don't know if I wanna like wait and read it or like try to read it soon. But anyway, I got Calabasas by R.F. Kuang. See, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but I got this, and because it did sound good, and it sounded really interesting and different and unique, and I was like, you know, I've seen other people read it, and most everybody has really good things to say about it, and I love a good book. So I bought it. I'm excited to read it sometime. But like I said, I don't know when I'll read it. But I wanted to get it because I did want to read it. So I don't know when. But sometime this year, this will grace a monthly TBR, or it'll just be one of those random books I read during the month. So. And then the other book I got is honestly, it was kind of a random find. I was just flipping through books that they had, that Barnes & Noble had for a discount on their website. And I was like, oh, this sounds really interesting, and I haven't seen anyone to like talk about this book, having been reading it, and so yeah. But I got The Wayfinder by Adam Johnson, and honestly, this cover is beautiful. It's so weird and interesting, but cool. So yeah. But here, let me read you guys what it's about. Talking corpses, poetic parrots, and a fan that wafts the breath of life. This is the world young Corio, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyway, Corio finds herself thrust into when a mysterious visitor lands on her island, a place so remote its inhabitants have forgotten the word for stranger. Her people are desperate and on the brink of starvation, and the wayward stranger offers them an impossible choice. They can remain in the only home they've ever known and await this uncertainty to come, or Corio can join him and venture into unfamiliar waters, guided by only the night sky and his assurance of a bountiful future in the kingdom of Tonga. What Corio and her people don't know is that the promised refuge is no utopia. Instead, Tonga is an empire at war and on the verge of collapse, a place where brains are regularly liberated from skulls and souls get trapped in coconuts with some frequency. The perils of Tonga are compounded by a royal feud. Loyalties are shifting, graves are being opened, and everyone lives in fear of a jellyfish tattoo. Here, survival can rest on a perfectly performed dance or the acceptance of a cup of kava. Together, the stranger and Corio embark upon an epic voyage, one that will deliver them either to salvation or to the depths of the Pacific. So, it sounds unique, new, interesting, something I wouldn't normally just pick up and read. So again, I don't know when I'll read this, but I would like to read it this year. So we'll see. Now, today, when I went to the store, I ended up going by the book section because honestly, I don't leave the store without checking out the book section. And I bought some books. So I went on ahead and bought Caught Up because I did read Lights Out and I really liked it. And you know, at first I was really excited because I didn't know she was writing another book, and then it came out maybe like 2 or 3 months or sooner after I finished reading Lights Out, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes. But then I started seeing people talk about it, and people either loved it or they hated it, but a lot of people just didn't like it and thought the story was unnecessary. But I don't like to let others' opinions shape what I read too much, and so I was like, but I might like it, you know. It's about a character that was introduced at the end of the last book, or at least the male lead was. I don't think the female lead was. But I had been debating on if I was going to buy an actual copy, if I was going to read it on Kindle, when I was going to read it, because I saw that she's coming out with a third book, and I am definitely interested in reading the third book. But I hate skipping around in a series, and so I really wanted to read the second book before I read the third book, even if I didn't necessarily enjoy the second book as much as I did the first book. So yeah. So I bought this because it was there. It was the last one on the shelf, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy it because I am gonna read it sometime this year before the third book comes out. And I wish I could remember when the third book comes out, but I'm not sure. It's in the next few months. It might be towards the end of the year, but yeah, I can't remember. But so I bought this. Now, I am super excited about this next book that I bought. I didn't think that they would have it at the store yet, since it literally just came out on the 6th. But it was there. And so it will definitely be on my February TBR, because I've got, you know, a few to finish reading for this month. So I don't want to try and overload myself and like pack it in there if I can't fit it. So, which I most likely won't be able to. But if I'm able to read it by the end of the month, great. I am excited to read it. If I can definitely, you know, the closer we get to the end, if I can tell I'm not going to get to it, that's fine. I will put it on my TBR for next month. You know, this will be the one that I pick that isn't included in a challenge that I want to read. So it's The First Time I Saw Him by Laura Dave. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So I bought The Last Thing He Told Me kind of on a whim from the store, you know, like a year or so ago whenever it came out. You know, I always just kind of go and look and check things out and read a few of the backs, and I might buy a random one I don't usually buy. Well, The Last Thing He Told Me was a random one that I might not usually buy, and you know, it just sounded interesting and it sounded good, and so I bought it. And it was probably a few months before I actually read it, but then when I did, I was like, oh my God, I cannot put this down. I was like, what's happening? What's happening? What's gonna happen next? And so I finally got to the end and I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And I didn't, you know, I thought that was like the end of it. Like, I didn't even know that the author was planning on releasing a second one. And then I think it was right before Thanksgiving, I was flipping through on Apple Books looking at, you know, like books coming out in the new year or whatever, and this was one of them, and I was like, what? And I saw that it was a sequel to the first, and I was like, oh my God. So I was actually planning on buying it on Apple Books and reading it that way, but then when I went into the store and saw they had it, I was like, no way. So I bought it, and this will be on my February TBR. So look forward to seeing it next month. Okay, let's talk about this, Where It All Began by Lucy Score. I love Lucy Score. I do have Story of My Life in paperback, waiting for the next one to come out. It wasn't one of her, Story of My Life wasn't one of my most favorites books by her, but this series, the Blue Moon, yeah, it's called Blue Moon, right? Yeah, the Blue Moon series, love it. Love it. Now, the only thing is, technically this is a prequel, Where It All Began, but it was released after all the other books in the series. So I think there's 8 books, and at least 4 of the books have to do with the sons that were created from this couple in this book. And then the other 4 books are, you know, people associated with the brothers or whatever, and friends of the brothers' significant others. So that's how, you know, yeah. And then this came out after books 1 through 8. And even though it's a prequel, technically you don't have to read it as a prequel. Now you can. But I didn't know that it existed when I started the series, and so I read books 1 through 8, or I guess it would be 1 through 7 or something like that. And then this book was at the end, and I was like, oh, is this a cute little, you know, blah blah blah, I don't know, you know, even though it's called Where It All Began, I wasn't really thinking. And then I read the premise, and it's about the couple where all the brothers come from, and I was like, oh my gosh. But then after reading the series and kind of knowing some things that I know, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I don't know if I can read the prequel, because I don't know if I can see this couple this happy like, but I saw it in the store today and I was like, you know what? I always say I'm going to go back and read it. And I don't, because I know it's going to make me sad. But I saw it and I didn't know she had any of this series on paperback, which maybe that sounds dumb. But I also hadn't looked for it. But I saw this and I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna read it and then I'm gonna probably cry and then I'm gonna have to go back and read the whole series again. So, but I'm excited. I need to get some more like Lucy Score books because I love rereading some of her series, but I don't actually have any of them. I don't actually have any physical copies except for Story of My Life. And that was kind of a random find like this. So, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about that. Okay, now, 3 of these books were kind of like random buys. And the 4th one, I'll tell you about that one first. It's part of a series. And I have been eyeing it at the store for like months. And I'm like, do I want to get it? Do I want to read it? I don't know. You know, other people really like it. So I finally decided. I bought King of Wrath from the Kings of Sin series by Anna Huang. Yeah. I have finally decided to buy it and see if I like it. And if I do, I guess the rest of the series will be in my future. So I'm excited. Now these other 3, like I said, kind of like random finds, but they all sounded really good. And I'll read them for you on here. But they all just sounded really good, and so I decided to buy them. So this first one that I got is Lake's Hockey series. It's book 1. I don't know how many more there are. I've never heard of this series before, so it's new to me. It's called Before We Came by Sloane St. James. So let me read the back for you. Okay. Things heat up when a shocking secret paves the way for childhood sweethearts to rekindle the flame and indulge in their deepest desires. In a single moment, Birdie learns her entire life has been a lie, confused about her identity, furious at her recently deceased adoptive mother, and on the verge of meeting the family who's been searching for her for 22 years. She needs a brief escape from the chaos. So who could blame her for indulging in a one-night stand with a man whose dirty talk and lavish praise absolutely rock her world? Too bad she'll never see him again. Lonan Burke is tired of being a hockey playboy with an endless string of puck bunnies notching his bedpost. And when his best friend's long-lost sister walks into the room, now a total smoke show, he feels fate is acting on his behalf. But there's one problem. She doesn't remember him or anything about her past. He'll just have to figure out a way to bring her back to him. As Birdie rediscovers the life that was stolen from her, Lonan's penthouse offers a sanctuary from the media hounds who have caught wind of her story and are clamoring for an exclusive. Through it all, Lonan is there holding her hand, when he's not pinning both her hands down, that is. He'll do anything to show Birdie her future lies with him. But how can she settle down when she's just been set free? It just sounded so good. And let me tell you, I love me a hockey series. Don't even get me started. So, bought it. All right, now, this next one is called An Archaean Inheritance by Camilla Cole. Never heard of it. I think it's a standalone book. But honestly, it just sounded so interesting, and I thought it was really pretty. I mean, look at this cover, and then look at the side edges. Like, I just thought it was a beautiful book, and the premise sounded super interesting. So legend says Warren University was built on the bones and forbidden magic of its most prized biopic students, hiding a secret society that will do anything to keep their own powers burning bright, no matter who they must sacrifice along the way. So it says, Elroy Morgan is determined to prove that she belongs at Warren University, an Ivy League school whose history is deeply linked to occult rumors and dark secrets. But as she settles into her freshman year, something about the ornate buildings and shadowy past feels strangely familiar. And with every passing day, that sense of deja vu grows increasingly sinister. Despite all logic, despite all reason, despite all rules of reality, Elroy knows one thing to be true. She has been here before, and if she can't convince brooding legacy student Hudson Graves to help her remember a past that seems determined to slip through her fingers as if by some insidious magic, this time she may lose herself for good. So that just sounds super interesting. And yes, but honestly, to me, this book kind of gives off like fall vibes, especially like October vibes. So I may be saving this for later in the year. And then the last book I got from the store, A Vow and Vengeance by Jacqueline Rodriguez. So, and honestly, look, the front says, claim your tarot, choose your fate. Oh, I love tarot. Honestly, it just sounded so good. Let me read it to you guys. Okay. Rune Riker has nothing left to lose. Everything's been stolen by the Immortals. Her family, her home, her freedom. But she's done playing by their rules. Each year, mortals are chosen against their will to journey into the immortal realms. But 20-year-old Rune orchestrates her own selection, determined to find her family and destroy anyone who stands in her way. Rune is used to doing whatever it takes to survive, and now she must endure the Forge, a cutthroat college that teaches the elusive tarot magic of the immortal druids. And when Rune's magic reveals itself to be the rarest and most powerful, she's forced to live with its only other wielder, Prince Draven. As arrogant as he is ruthlessly ambitious, he's the last person she can trust. Rune's abilities also draw the attention of the most dangerous druids in the realms. Some want to use her, more want her dead. Draven offers to train her, for a price. As Rune becomes ensnared in Draven's dangerous games, she learns there are secrets at the heart of the kingdom that some will kill to protect. And Rune and Draven's growing attraction may be the spark to ignite a brewing war. So, yeah. I'm excited. It just sounds so good. You know, not necessarily, you know, like a little different. Like the magic, like tarot magic, that just sounds super cool. And so, yeah. I just got so many good books from the store. Like I really just kind of want to read them all, but I know like I don't have the time to read them all like that. But yeah, I'm excited. And I'm excited for you guys to come along with me while I read them. So yeah, I think that is all I have for you guys today. If I get significantly more into The Only One Left, and if I get a good way into Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, I will come back with a short update about those two. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in my next video. I hope you all have a great week, and you know, stay away from the sickness still, because it's still going around. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed my video. Like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss anything and you don't miss me talking about all the awesome books I'm reading. All right, bye guys. Hey everyone. So I wanted to give a quick reading update before I uploaded my video today. I wanted to talk about Dating After the World Ends, which I finished reading or finished listening to on audio on Kindle. And unfortunately, I haven't read any more in The Only One Left yet. And I haven't I haven't started Emily Wild's Encyclopedia of Fairies yet. I will be starting it this week, and I do want to finish The Only One Left this week as well. I just really got sidetracked by a couple of rereads that I'm rereading. You guys remember I talked about finishing the new book that came out from Bianca Dark, and how the last book in this little series, a part of the bigger series, is coming out in March. And you know, like I said earlier in the video, I just love like rereading some of the smaller series and, you know, just certain stories in the world she's created, and I've kind of gotten hooked on rereading her Grizzly Cove series. And most of them are, you know, like short books. They're like under 200 pages, or maybe just a little over. I can't remember. I think most of them are under 200 pages, like within like 150 and 200 maybe. So they're short. But I love so many in that series, and I just couldn't stop thinking about it when I was reading Night of Lions. And so I've been rereading a couple of them, and I've gotten distracted by that. I have bought Venom in the Blood on audiobook. I haven't started listening to it yet. I actually am planning on listening to it tonight while I drive to work. I just, like I said, I got sidetracked, and I really enjoy doing the rereads. And but then I'm like, oh, Goldie, you're like reading The Only One Left, like you want to finish it, and you want to start this book, and you want to start this book, like, but you know, I hate to feel like I'm pushing myself to read something. And so I'm like, you know what, let me just, you know, enjoy my rereads, and I will get to the other books, and I will. So I think that's actually all I have for my little reading update to add before I post my video. So that's all I have to update about, you know, small little update. But why don't I tell you about finishing Dating After the End of the World? So in a few videos ago, when I talked about listening to this on audio on Kindle, and I, you know, looked it up and talked about what it was about, and Google said that it ends on a cliffhanger. And you guys don't know me too well yet, but I do not do well with cliffhangers. You know what? For a second, I was like, this isn't gonna end on a cliffhanger, or maybe it's the kind of cliffhanger that's like an open-ended cliffhanger, like you hope that in the future things work out well, you know, like it kind of gives that vague impression that things are gonna work out all the way at the end. But like you don't know that for sure. And I kind of felt like that's the way the book was going. But then something happened, and I was like, no. I was like, tell me the book does not end like that. It does. And I was listening to it on my way to work, and I had like maybe 15 minutes left before I got to work, and it ended, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, what? Like, what? And I kind of like rewound it like a minute, and I listened to it again, and I was like, what? No. Why is it ending like this? Like, what the heck? And okay, I'm gonna give a little bit of a spoiler right here, so if you don't want to know, skip like the next 30 seconds. Okay. I don't remember if I said in my last reading update of this book, but her fiance at the beginning of the book, he ends up coming back and he finds where they are, but she never told him where her dad lived in the compound that they're all safe in from the zombies, right? And okay, this is going to be longer than 30 seconds. Another 30 seconds. Skip it. Okay. And anyway, so he never knew. Like at last minute, she, told him in the beginning that my dad has a compound. It would be safe. We could go there if we need to. But then he ditched her and she was like, so this whole time she's either thought he was dead or like just off somewhere. Shit, I'm gonna need another 30 seconds. Okay, skip that too. And so finally her and the MMC have like a real talk, kinda, even though they're still like barbing each other a little bit. And it seems like they finally come to like a mature conclusion that like, yeah, we're ribbing each other, but we actually have feelings for each other. And they're together and you're like, yes, finally. And shit, I'm gonna need another 30 seconds. I can't talk fast to save my life. Anyway, and so finally they get ready to go upstairs and her best friend comes down and is like, your fiance is here? And she's like, what? And Blake is like, you have a fiance? And anyway, they go up, he's there alive, and he's like, babe. And she's like, oh my God, like, what? And then she's like, you left me, like you ditched me, why are you here? And he's like, I didn't ditch you. I thought that those guys would follow me and they'd come away from you, and then when I ran out and got outside, I realized they weren't following me. And then I was like, shit, I need another 30 seconds. Oh my God. And then he was like, and then I realized, I was like, oh, let me go to the car and wait, like our plan was if we got separated. And then I went there and I was waiting, but then I heard more of the bad guys coming, so I just got in the car and left, and I circled the block and I parked and I hid, and I decided I would wait a little bit and then go back. And then when I came back, you weren't there, and then I drove around for weeks thinking about where you could be or whatever, and then it finally hit me like, oh, I don't know where your dad is, but oh, your truck, is your truck here? And then I saw your truck wasn't here, blah 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 blah. And anyway, he goes on to explain how he found his way there, and she's like, oh my God, so he didn't ditch me, he wasn't an asshole and just left me there to be like assaulted and beaten up and killed by these guys. Like, he was actually trying to help and then didn't know what to do and blah blah blah. And she's like, oh my God, now I feel bad. I've like thought the worst and basically realized that we weren't a good match in the end and that all this stuff. And she's like, but he didn't actually leave me and he loves me, and oh my God, now I don't think I can be with Blake because I have to be with him, right? Because he's, I guess, still my fiance and he came back for me. Like, he found me. And it's like, and honestly, when she started going down that rabbit hole in her head, I was like, girl, shut up. Like, please shut up. You are not fucking for real right now. Like, in the beginning, you realized all this stuff about your relationship that wasn't working, and that was kind of like the tipping point. But now you want to be like, oh, that wasn't true, so we can still be together. And I mean, like, obviously it's really confused her because she's finally just accepted these feelings for the main guy. And then the fiance comes back and she's like, oh. And she's kind of like, well, I don't know if I still feel the same, but like, I feel like I have to. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, it just, the way it's happening, I'm like, really? Really? Like, this guy sounds like a noob either way. Like, no. Like, tell him that you thought this. Like, just tell him you thought this, so you moved on, you've started to move on with somebody else, and you just don't feel the same way anymore. Just tell him. Like, yeah, he's gonna feel bad in the end or whatever, but just tell him. But honestly, something was really weird to me about the fiance's arrival, because just a few days earlier, some of the bad guys from the city found the compound, and it was only a couple, like 5, I think, something like that. And so then a few days later, he shows up. Like, to me, that was just making it fire in my brain. I was like, I don't know. That's kind of like too close happening to like be coincidence. Like that if that's coincidence, that's like some crazy coincidence. And I don't really believe in coincidences. Anyway, we're going on for maybe like 2 or 3 days, and then, you know, the main guy finally decides, oh, you know what? I can't stay here and watch this and watch you be with him out of like some kind of obligation. Like I felt like we were finally getting to a place, both of us, where we could say we want to be together, we love each other. And now all of a sudden, because he comes back and says all this stuff and you barely question it, and you've just decided to basically kind of like be with him. Like, you think I'm gonna stay here even though it's the end of the world with zombies and like watch you two be together and be in love and all this? Like, he's like, no. You know, he's like, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna go out on my own and I'm not staying. And she's like, oh my god, no. And okay, I'm making this really long now, but anyway, it turns out that he was actually captured by the bad guys not too long after he ditched her, which he actually did. He confessed to it. He ditched her because he was scared and didn't want to die and thought she was going to die, even though she ended up hurting the one guy and then killing the other two. And anyway, so, you know, he ends up luring her away from the compound, like to help go get his car because he parked it away, and he ends up driving away. And then that's when all this stuff comes out, that he betrayed her. Not only that he ditched her, but that he betrayed everybody at the compound because he gave the bad guys the location for him to like keep his life and be able to take her and get away. And she was like, oh my god. And you know, also this whole time she's really thinking, like, do I really want to be with him? Like, can I really let Blake leave the compound? And you know, she's thinking about all this stuff. And anyway, then that happens, and then she basically like wrecks the car to get him to stop. And yeah, he confesses all this shit, and she like injures him really bad. His ankle is broken. She throws one of her throwing stars into his shoulder, and it's like gushing and bleeding. You know, his head is hurt, all this stuff. But she doesn't kill him, and she just kind of like leaves him there for dead. And you know, the car is totaled, so it's not like he can get back in it and drive. And you know, she goes back, and anyway, they beat all the burners, and some people die. I won't, you know, reveal that much. Some people die, and then they say she and two of the other girls save the rest, and it's like all good and everything. And you know, we're at the last scene, and you know, they're having a wedding for one of the couples, and you know, they've talked about, I think it was like the epilogue was like a 6 months later or something like that. And you know, they're holding a wedding for a couple and everybody's happy-go-lucky, and then the cliffhanger, more of the bad guys drive up and start shooting up the wedding in the middle, when the person officiating the wedding goes, if anyone has any doubt to, you know, doubt this or say no, don't marry, you know, speak now or forever hold your peace. And then that's when they pull up in this semi truck, pop out of the top, and start, and it ends, and the book ends, and it's like, what the hell? What? Like, I have so many questions. Like, first off, did fiance dude douche actually die, or did the bad guys find him, get information out of him, kill him, or is he still alive? You know, like, you never get a firm answer on whether they found out if he was dead or not. She just left him there, and the book kind of like makes you assume that he would die because of his injuries, but we don't actually know. And then, how did more of these bad guys show up? Like, did the bad guys that were there before 6 months earlier, like, tell other people, like, hey, we're gonna have this place, everybody should come, but like, wouldn't they have shown up sooner? It's been like 6 months. And so it's like, what is going on? Like, no, it cannot end like this, but it does. And that took like 7 or 8 minutes to tell about. Oh my God. I have a problem. I cannot condense a storyline down to save my life. I like have to give like all the details. Anyway, it was mostly a good book. I give it 3 stars. I liked the storyline and how they started figuring things out about the zombies and all that kind of stuff. But I think really what just bothered me the most about it and why it's not like a 4-star or higher is because the FMC and the MMC, it's just, for most of the book, they do have some banter that's funny, but then there's so much pettiness and denial and just all of that in there, and it feels like a little too much, and it drives me kind of nuts. And you know, at some point when I'm reading books like that, it gets so frustrating for me that I just don't want to read it anymore. So I'm glad that it got better and they kind of matured, although then they kind of took like a giant step back and went back to pettiness before things kind of got resolved in the end. But it was something. So that's the end of that. I hope you guys enjoy the video. I hope you guys are having a nice relaxing Sunday. I have to work tonight. Actually, I work all the way through Thursday night, so I won't be off until Friday night. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing some reading this week, and hopefully I will have a lot to tell you guys by the weekend, or this next weekend. Anyway, bye everyone.